Hey there everybody! In 2020, Bandai brought out a sort of companion line to their Dragon Ball Dragon Stars action figures in the form of Bandai Anime Heroes. Why am I talking about them now? Because I like them, and I want to. That's reason enough for me, and I hope it's reason enough for you. Come along with me as we embrace our inner otaku.
It's like one of my Japanese animes.
And check these figures out.
From across the far reaches of the cosmos, the brightest stars in the universe have gathered for the ultimate competition. Knights of the Zodiac action figures. Now you can have all the excitement of the stars in your hands. Introducing Seiya, Knight of Pegasus, the bright white star.
Pegasus Meteor Punch!
Shiryu, Knight of Dragon, the powerful green star.
My Dragon Blow will defeat the Knights of Ares!
Iki, Knight of Phoenix.
Flying Phoenix move!
Burns orange like the sun. You can remove the chroma shields from each 8-inch knight to form his Power Star Beast.
My solar wings will protect me.
Then go head-to-head for the Golden Cloth of Sagittarius.
I will use the power of the cosmos to defeat you.
The entire universe of Knights of the Zodiac action figures and gaming cards are available now. You can also visit your favorite stars at knightsofthezodiac.com. Knights of the Zodiac, it's your turn to shine.
So like I was saying, this is a series of figures that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I've been sitting on them for quite a while. Not literally, of course.
Sit on it, man. They're just a bunch of nerds.
But I think they're worth bringing attention back to. And this gives me the opportunity to talk about even more figures that have come out in the line. So without further ado, let's get to it. So I guess we'll start off in reverse alphabetical order as we take a look at Saint Seiya. How much do I love Saint Seiya? As much as I love Fist of the North Star?
Don't turn your back on me!
You're already dead.
No, no, not that one. Definitely not that one. Yes, that's the one. Much better. Do I love it as much as Fist of the North Star? No, but it's up there.
Get it up there.
No, not up there. I mean, I hold it in high esteem. It pains me that it never took off like it did in its native Japan, and certainly not South America, where it's also hugely popular. I really, really do like this figure. I hate to complain, but I do feel like I would have appreciated it even more if it was the more classic helmet from the original Saint Seiya episodes. I do believe this headband was worn in one of the later incarnations of the series. I don't recall the winged headband too much in the originals. Maybe I'm just forgetting some episodes. There are like 100 and some of them. But I would have preferred that look to this, and I feel like maybe more people would have gravitated towards this figure more if it had that classic look. That's the look I would have preferred, but I still appreciate this one as well. As far as articulation goes, that sculpted hair really hinders a lot of the head movement. And speaking of hindering, those shoulder pads really hinder some of that upward. Not completely. Doesn't hinder the shoulder movement completely, but does hinder that upward shoulder movement. Surprisingly, double-jointed elbows and double-jointed knees as well. No ab crunch or anything like that, but there is some movement at the waist that can kind of give a little bit of crunch to the figure. A little bit more movement in that area. You've got good range of motion in the hip area to really lay in some of those hard kicks or a nice high heavy side kick. And you've also got an extra set of hands, which hopefully I won't break here trying to put them on, but as we've discussed on many occasions, I do have a tendency to do that sort of thing. Okay, not so bad. Goes on pretty easy. A little peg in there to pop it on. Yeah, so you get this spare set of hands to help your Saint Seiya figure carry out maneuvers like or some of his other spectacular combat maneuvers. It's a good likeness, and it's a good figure. I think it really works. It might not be quite as fancy as some more upscale figures, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. I would have thought the Saint Seiya line would have released Dragon Shiryu by now, but since he's easily the second most popular character in the story, some people might even like him more than Seiya, I'm not sure. But yeah, I guess they probably don't want to give away all their most wanted characters in one go to try and keep interest in the line. But give me classic Seiya and and Shiryu as soon as possible, please. Next up is Kakashi from Anime Heroes Naruto selection. Now, truth be told, I haven't watched a lot or read the manga. My nephew was more of a fan. Hey Roman, hope you're doing well. That stuff was kind of becoming popular here more around the time when he was a kid still, really. I believe he was into Naruto, some Zatch Bell. I know he was a fan of that. He might have been a fan of Bleach, maybe, and maybe Soul Eater, I can't remember. I think a lot of that stuff was hitting at the same time here in America. But yeah, like I said, when it was first gaining popularity here, I wasn't really watching it. I watched some of it later on. What I watched of it, I liked. But my favorite character, like the character that stood out to me the most, was Kakashi. Maybe it's the gray hair, I don't know. Really enjoyed the character of Kakashi, the darker colors. I enjoy the paramilitary ninja look. I can't imagine why that would appeal to me. And the whole mask is just plain cool too. I like the character, and he had probably my favorite character design on the show too. So, getting on to the figure. The sculpted hair isn't really a problem on this one, like it was on the previous figure. However, this collar does kind of create its own problems in regards to range of movement, range of motion. The articulation is obviously going to be similar between this and the Seiya figure. The edge of the vest does kind of add a little bit of a hindrance to the shoulder movement, but not nearly as bad as those big shoulder pads on the Seiya figure. I'm enjoying the sculpting on the vest. I like how the symbol on the back isn't just like a painted on piece. It's actually like its own raised little bit sculpted in. That's pretty cool. That double jointed elbow, the double jointed knee, again that range of motion in the hip to allow for some nice high kicks. I think my only complaint about the overall design of the Naruto characters in general was the I never thought I'd be a proponent of socks with sandals, but not a big fan of the bare feet. Just give me some of those little ninja boots, you know, what are they called, tabi or whatever? Slap some of those on there instead of this. But yeah, not a big fan of that. I know I'm alienating a certain contingent of the anime fandom. But yeah, not really a fan in this context. And as far as accessories, this figure comes with one more spare set of hands than the Saint Seiya figure and a lot of the other figures. And I think that's to accommodate all the various jutsus that Kakashi utilizes for his attacks. So that's a cool, nice little touch. Lets you get some dynamic poses. So that's pretty cool. The only complaint I have about this figure in particular, and I think the same accessory comes with Sasuke, I could be mistaken, but yeah, the only complaint I have is this electricity ball. It's pretty lackluster. I think it's supposed to fit into the palm of his hand, but I'll be darned if I can figure out how to make that work. It's sort of just a light blue plastic lump. It doesn't really seem to work with. It's just sort of awkward and plain, and I would have, of course, preferred a translucent piece of plastic, but you know, that's okay. It's the overall design that it just seems kind of useless. It could be anything. It could be an unknown Pokemon or an otherworldly jellyfish. It could easily pass for something like that instead of one of Kakashi's lightning attacks. So yeah, that's about my only complaint about this figure. Other than that, it's really cool. Favorite characters from that particular franchise, and I think it's executed pretty well. Good sculpting, good articulation. I dig it. And now we're going to take a look at my favorite My Hero Academia character in the form of All Might.
United, stay
Bad news for you, though. I won't be opening this one up. Sorry. Because he's kind of really hard to find, like basically impossible to find here. I had to order mine from, I think, Singapore or Taiwan or something like that. I think you can find some available, but you have to order them from overseas as well. So yeah, I don't have a backup for this one for me to feel comfortable about opening it. It's another one of those cases where I don't know if the McFarlane license somehow affected the ability of it being released here. This was around the same time that Mega Merge was bringing out the more 4-inch type scale, 1/18 scale types My Hero Academia figures that I've covered previously in a video. So yeah, I'm not really sure what the deal is with that, all the licensing and who had permission to use what figures and what characters and whatever. Like I said, the Mega Merge figures were coming out and the McFarlane figures were coming out and Bandai's Anime Heroes figures were coming out. And it seems like they were all coming out at roughly the same time, but the My Hero Academia figures I never saw on any of the shelves anywhere, not that I recall. recall anyway, or else I would have probably snatched up an All Might. Even if you go to the Bandai Anime Heroes webpage, there is no entry for, at least not here in the States anyway, there is no entry for the My Hero Academia figures from this particular line. So, it's a bit of a mystery. Well, to me anyway. Maybe not to people in the know. Midoriya and Bakugo were also the companion figures to this one. The Midoriya is probably one of the worst looking ones I've seen. I still say that Mega Merge, even though it's on a much smaller scale, really nailed the Midoriya. That was probably one of the best looking ones they brought out. Bandai's Anime Heroes, not quite so good. Bakugo looks okay. All Might, probably my favorite of the three, but that's just because he's All Might for starters. His face is highly stylized, maybe a little too stylized for my liking, but it's okay. He's obviously a lot bigger than the Saint Seiya and Naruto figures, which is understandable completely. It's a very cool looking figure, but not perfect. And just for a bit of fun, here he is compared to the McFarlane Toys version of himself. The McFarlane Toys version of All Might. I think it might be a little bit bigger, and obviously the sculpting on the McFarlane one might be a little bit better, in the face particularly. Still cool. And then just a brief look at Zoro. I'm not a big One Piece fan. I hope that's not disappointing to a lot of people. I guess I took one look at the main protagonist and I was like, nah. That's not my guy. Maybe I'm missing out on a great anime. A lot of people seem to like it. But yeah, I don't know. Just doesn't seem to appeal to me. Why did I pick up Zoro? Because, I mean, he's a samurai. He's a samurai that carries 3 swords. So yeah, I was willing to overlook any of my aversion to One Piece, to put aside my aversion to One Piece, to get a samurai figure. It's a good sculpt, a very good likeness, lots of cool accessories, but yeah, I'm guessing it'll probably be the only One Piece figure I actually collect. I could be wrong. We'll see. And here you see how they size up against the Dragon Ball All-Stars figures. The Dragon Ball figures being a little bit beefier, obviously, than Saint Seiya or Naruto. Not so much All Might, of course. You might look at these figures and think they're not as good as a Figma or a Revoltech or a Figure Arts, but they're also third or sometimes even a fourth of the price. So I think that kind of pays off. They're really good likenesses of the characters. Might not have quite as much detail and articulation as one of those other brands, but the price point is quite a bit lower, and I still think the quality is good for the price point that they're at. I think they're very nice for people who can't shell out, like myself, who would rather not shell out $60 to $100 for one of those more high-end brands. Believe me, I'd like to, but you know, it's not really realistic or cost-effective to do so. I mean, this is still a nice range of figures, still a nice line of figures to have. Because yeah, for me, an affordably priced Saint Seiya figure is definitely a welcome addition to my collection. So what do you guys think? I know I personally would like to see them expand into even more franchises. I don't know what the legalities and licensing on that would be like, but you know, I wouldn't mind seeing definitely some Fist of the North Star, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, lots of other stories and characters to choose from. Just give me the whole Jump Force lineup. That'd be fine. I'd be okay with that, but like I said, I don't know what the legalities on licensing details would be like on something like that, but I'd love to see it, and I'd love to add a few more of those figures to my collection. So yeah, what do you guys think? Is this a line that interests you? Is this a line that you are collecting or have collected? Are you looking forward to more releases? I hope so. I know I am. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And until next time, I will see you.
私が来た。